Formerly called Gods and Monsters, Immortals Fenyx Rising is a new action-adventure story-driven game that's heavily inspired by Zelda Breath of the Wild and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So the question we're gonna be answering today is this game worth it, or is it just a Breath of the Wild clone? I'm Hitman89 and this is my honest review on Immortals Fenyx Rising. Without further ado, we're gonna start with the graphics. This review was shot on PC, hopefully my last one on PC before I get a PS5 or an Xbox Series X. But you guys probably don't care, so let me show you what the game looks like on the lowest settings, which is basically what the Switch version looks like, with a little bit more grass and at 720p. Now check out the graphics on the highest settings. As you can see, the game looks good, but it definitely won't take your breath away. Moving on to the animations, physics-based animations aren't always physics-based. Sometimes they're just scripted and they can glitch out. So most of the time they don't look as good as they should. Also, facial animations are okay at best, especially in the lip sync department. I mean, this is a Ubisoft game, so I can't really say I didn't expect this shit. Apart from that though, whether it's in combat or in exploration, most animations are good. Now when it comes to the performance, if you're on PC, the good news is Immortals isn't as demanding as Valhalla and Watch Dogs Legion, so you should be able to run it properly even on an average PC. On PS4, Xbox One and Switch though, the game runs at 30 FPS and it seems to dip below that every now and then. And if you're one of them lucky motherfuckers who already have a PS5 or an Xbox Series X, you'll be happy to know that the game runs at 4K 60 FPS and it looks good. Now let's move on to the sound. The soundtrack is good, the sound effects are also great, but there should have been more variety in Fenyx's grunts, especially in combat, because after a while, I'm sure the repetitive grunts will get on your nerves. That being said, the voice acting is in my opinion one of the game's strengths, especially when it comes to the narrators. I have to admit, their shitty jokes made me laugh every now and then. So I'm gonna let you listen to the game audio for about 15 seconds and then we'll talk about the gameplay.
And dangers untold. Nice. What's the rent like in this neighborhood? But we're not stealing anything for an offering.
We are not stealing anything.
On Immortals Fenyx Rising, Prometheus tells Zeus a story, your story. They go back and forth throughout the game and that's how they narrate the story where Typhon, the most deadly creature in Greek mythology, took all of the gods' powers and turned humans to stone. You play as Fenyx, the only guy who made it, and you'll have to give the gods their powers back so they can help you defeat Typhon. Now when it comes to the gameplay, take Breath of the Wild, sprinkle a little Darksiders on it, add in a tiny bit of Odyssey, and you'll get Immortals Fenyx Rising. So let me tell you about the game's pros and cons, starting with the pros. In a story-driven game like this one, I think the funny narrators are a good idea. I know some of you guys probably won't like this, but I like a game that doesn't take itself too seriously. The world and theme are very interesting too, especially if you're into Greek mythology. By the way, I just turned 31 and some elements on this game reminded me of the adventure games I played back in the day. I honestly would have loved to play this as a child, so if you have kids, make them try this game out. Cause just like on Breath of the Wild, you're gonna be solving puzzles, fighting tons of monsters, upgrading your health, stamina, gear, skills, and you're gonna be doing a lot of exploration cause there are tons of interesting locations and challenges to find. And speaking of Breath of the Wild, let's talk about the bad stuff. Because apart from having a funny narration and a deeper story, Immortals Fenyx Rising doesn't do anything better than Breath of the Wild did 3 years ago, and that's where the real issue is. It's got way worse physics and AI, which result in less possibilities and interactions, and that's why Breath of the Wild didn't die yet, while I'm sure nobody will be talking about this game in a month or so, which is a shame. Anyways, let's get back to the good stuff, because on this game you can customize your character's appearance, weapons, mount, etc. whenever you want, which is fun. Speaking of which, let's move on to the fun factor. When I really like a game, I get addicted to it, and honestly, whenever I start playing Immortals, I find it hard to put the controller down. That's how addictive this game can be, because regardless of its lack of originality, I found the exploration and puzzle solving parts really fun. Now when it comes to the value for money, Immortals Fenyx Rising is gonna cost you $60, and in order to finish the game you're gonna need at least 20 hours, and that's if you only focus on the main quest line. But I honestly recommend that you do some side quests and challenges, because some of them are really worth it. They'll keep you entertained for at least 20 more hours, and I'm pretty sure you want to get your money's worth, don't you? Immortals Fenyx Rising is fun to play, it's great for adults and kids too, but it's far from being original. I enjoyed it though, so I'ma give it an 8.5 out of 10. This is my favorite Ubisoft game this year. Hopefully they will keep on bringing new IPs every now and then, but something original would be great instead of using the infamous Ubisoft formula. You know, that's gonna be it for my honest review on Immortals Fenyx Rising. I hope you found it helpful. Leave a like if you did. Special thanks to Ubisoft for providing me with a review copy and therefore allowing me to bring you guys this video 3 days before the game comes out. Don't forget to check out my other videos. I make game reviews and top 10 videos that I'm sure you'll find useful. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. It's been Hitman89. See you guys very soon.
Girls doing lines like a barcode, black and white keys moving bass by the carload. Everything I push is fucking dope. Narcos.